What is up, everybody? It's Steve here today, and we're going to talk about this indie developer who did not port their game over or the DLC from this game over on Xbox, and people are furious about it. So this is about the game Furi, and I guess the DLC that was never ported over to Xbox because the game didn't see too much support on Xbox, is what these developers are trying to say. So this is what they officially stated. We have heard all of you who have played Furi on Xbox. We understand your frustration. We are a small indie team, and we couldn't find the time and budget to make the port. Furi never captured a lot of attention on Xbox, and unfortunately, we had to prioritize platforms. We hope to be developing for Xbox again in the future. Thank you again for supporting our game. So, I'm kind of curious because I barely heard of Furi before this whole controversy started. Like, what other games have they made? I'm not too familiar with this company. Let's see. Furi, Squid's Odyssey, and Combo Crew. Yeah, I've only heard of Furi, and I never heard. They got a new game, Haven, out too. Okay, so apparently because the game to get supported too well on Xbox, they're not gonna bring a DLC over, which is kind of a crappy thing right there. Because if you do got some type of following on this platform, why wouldn't you bring the DLC over? Some people are buying the game on the platform. It just doesn't make any sense. And then why announce that too? Like, Xbox is my primary platform, and I'm seeing that you bring a DLC out for a game that I guess I like because I'm a fan of this game. You're not bringing DLC to the Xbox platform, but to every other platform because it's so more on those platforms. I'm not gonna buy your games in the future, as which a lot of Xbox guys are showing here, because that's kind of messed up. I think another company did something similar too. It was like a Terminator game on PlayStation, or PS4 to PS5, the upgrade situation. So I guess the company announced that, hey, we're gonna upgrade the PS4, the PS5 version for free of a Terminator, some Terminator game, Terminator Resistance it might be called, and then they didn't do it for the Xbox version as well. So people are like, hey, screw you. Why would you not support the Xbox version as well too? So this is not the first time this type of thing has happened to the Xbox platform, where companies or developers, they ignore the Xbox version, they give the PlayStation version the upgrades and the DLC and all that nonsense. So yeah, at the same time, people are pissed off because rightfully so. Like, why are you ignoring the platform? Especially, it was like one of the big three platforms. That's one of the major platforms as well. It's not like Xbox, like some indie type of game console or something. This is the main one. So it's kind of ridiculous. But I'm gonna be honest here. I have no interest in Furi whatsoever. I barely even heard about what the game even was. And if the game was that great, like if a game was amazing, it would get a lot of word of mouth traction. That people would gravitate to it because people have word of mouth to say the game's so great. So people would try it out. But I haven't really heard that with this game or any other previous games before that. So I don't know if this is too much of a loss here, but it kind of just brings more controversy. I don't know if this company wants that type of controversy, but apparently they put it out there, so obviously they do want the controversy. Because I'm pretty sure more Xbox guys is not going to buy their future games now, like this guy says. I really don't like this. I'm sure Xbox would have opened to a Gamepass deal, but whatever, guys. Very displeased with this decision. Oh yeah, and I'm not buying your games again, even though I have other platforms. I don't like developers snubbing consoles for no legitimate reasons or for lack of due diligence. Don't look forward to future support from many of us. You've shown what we're worth to you. Yeah, I wouldn't support them either, to be honest. As Xbox is your main platform, and they say, hey, we're not supporting the platform, that's like I'm not supporting you then at that point. But then again, like I said, like this guy says, he's trying to be funny, but he says, well, technically, of course, to them, there weren't many of you who bought the game in the first place. Well, I don't know. Like, I've never heard of this game, so I don't know how good is this game. Because it was released after other platforms and after it was on PlayStation Plus. Okay, that's one of the main reasons why. Okay, so if you release this game years after it's been on PlayStation Plus for free, then why were people playing on Xbox? Of course, there were less people playing on Xbox then at that point. It was released even later on Switch, and it seems I've done just fine on that though. Well, Switch is a whole different ballpark. It's like Switch, handheld, well, like indie games thrive on Switch more than any other consoles because it's kind of like you can play on a little small screen. It's kind of like you play a game that's not visually demanding. You can get away with that on the Switch. So I'm not too shocked. Like a lot of indie games do very well on Switch, better than other platforms. That's not really anything new there, but yeah, it's kind of like Xbox guys are pissed off about this. I fully agree with them being pissed off. So it shows they released this game on other platforms first. But then this journalist came in with a nonsense take right here because of this whole statement. So he stated this is not an uncommon refrain. I wonder if Xbox is becoming a console where if you're not on Game Pass, there's a little chance of gaining any traction. Now, what type of nonsense is this? So if a game isn't on Game Pass, people aren't gonna buy it. Like, that's just stupid. There's been plenty of games on Xbox that's not on Game Pass that did very well. So what is this? It's just stupidity. Like Elden Ring wasn't on Game Pass, it did very well. I would probably say that if there's any game that's highly rated, it's going to do very well on Xbox, just like it does on every other platform. But he says, outside the AAA space, to be clear. Okay, so you have to clarify because that would make no sense because Elden Ring did very well on Xbox. And okay, so let me rephrase since people are saying Game Pass doesn't exist then. So wait, what? So apparently he made this statement about how Game Pass is ruining the Game Pass games. Don't do games if they're not on Game Pass, but this game exists before Game Pass even existed. Is what he's trying to say. So, wow, just take an L right there. Jeez. Okay, so now he tried to rephrase it. That's it. Let me rephrase this since people are saying Game Pass didn't exist then. Game Pass numbers equals good. Things on Game Pass before and during Game Pass equals not very good. Is that proof to that? Like, I'm pretty sure all the... If it's a game that's very well received, it's gonna do great regardless. It's gonna sell well regardless. So to sell well on Xbox equals probably need to be on Game Pass. I still don't agree with that statement either. To sell well on Xbox equals probably needs to be on Game Pass. But if it's like a game that's not on Game Pass and it's an amazing game, then it's like I'm gonna buy it day one if it's not on Game Pass. And then the whole not being AAA is kind of a cop-out too, because I don't know too many indie games I'm really too excited about, but if it's a AAA game that's on Game Pass, I'm going to buy it. So that AAA thing is kind of a cop-out to just cover up for this dude's BS take right here, but okay. For the last few years, indie games have been on Xbox and other consoles, so this seems pretty bizarre. I don't know how true that is, to be honest. I don't think they would sell probably the best on Switch, and then probably like PC as a follow-up, but okay. Game Pass doesn't exist when Furi launched on Xbox. I think it had more to do with launching half a year later. Yeah, if you launch an indie game 6 months later, that's like, of course people are gonna buy it like that. And it was released free on PlayStation, so why would people? I don't know. I think some people are missing that Furi also came out in 2016 for Xbox, which wasn't exactly a high point for anything Xbox. This is what seems to happen to Xbox when games release months later than they did on PS4. Then they wonder why no one bought it on that console. As someone who owns all consoles, almost always picks the Xbox version, especially on indie games. I can say actually selling it on the console is a good start. I got Furi on PlayStation because it was on Xbox. I honestly didn't even know it had released there until today. Yeah, if you don't advertise your game too, is that an Xbox fault? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people haven't even heard of this game until this controversy right here. It's like if there's like no big advertisement or you don't got influencers talking about this game, those people are not gonna give your game any traction, to be honest. So, if this game is good, we buy it on Xbox. If it's not, then we don't. It has nothing to do with Game Pass. Yeah. Simple as that. Like, if your game is good, people are gonna buy it, especially if it's talked about. What if it's not talked about? And what can people like? What more can you want from people? If people don't even know about the game. Yeah, I never checked the store on Xbox, so either game is in Game Pass or I somehow hear about it on the internet. The store has very little visibility for small games. Yeah, so I'm gonna conclude it right here. It's kind of like, what made this guy jump into the frame to take advantage of the situation and say, "Hey, games aren't doing they aren't doing great on Xbox, let's on Game Pass." This is complete nonsense. It's like there's been plenty of games that did great. Then he had to leave that whole point if it's not AAA. I'm about to say a lot of games that's triple A do very well on Xbox on a Game Pass. But if it's an indie game with very little marketing, all you can do is rely on word of mouth. So obviously it's not gonna do that well if people aren't talking about it like that. So that's my take on it. Definitely want to see your take down below about this situation right here with this journalist and this developer talking about how they're not going to support Xbox with the DLC for this game. Let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you like this video. As always, thanks for watching, and peace.